Grand Raw Rising, kings and queens. Grab your coffee or your tea and enjoy some sacred healing space for all ages and reflections that are welcomed. No matter if you're at work, watching the kiddos at home, or even driving on the road, Rising with Raw is a beautiful sacred space to learn about the chakras as well as receive our collective card reading for the day. Along with this, we will have beautiful guests and members of the tribe come on to share their gifts, their practices, knowledge, and wisdom as we self-empower and become aware of who we are as we go forth by day.
Walking like an Egyptian, walking like an Egyptian, walking like an Egyptian, walking like an Egyptian. Yeah, she walking like an Egyptian.
Grand day, everybody. Welcome to a new season, and not just a new season, but 2-year anniversary of Rising with Raw. And if you are new to these Rising with Raw spaces, Rising with Raw is a space for community. And in these spaces, we go over one chakra of the day. We go in depth into that chakra, as well as lead a practice to help clear that chakra as well. Along with that, we also do a collective card reading for the day to help bring in and bring awareness to what type of conscious, supportive energies we can utilize during our days. Along with that, we have sacred guests that periodically join us as well to share any of their practices or any of their wisdom and knowledge to help us as well. So that is what to look for as we kick off this fresh season and 2nd year anniversary of Rising with Raw. And I want to say thank you to all of you that have continued to support, to tune in, and tap in during these lives. So as we begin, we'll go ahead and open this up with our collective card reading of the day. And our chakra of the day will be the root chakra. So we'll be covering the root chakra, and we will also bring focus to bringing healing to the root chakra as well. And to join us here shortly, we have our first royal guest of this season, and that is a good sister of mine, Sara Broadhead out of Arizona. And she'll be with us to do some root chakra exercising. And with that, it is going to be standing in our power, talking about some experiences and some wisdom that we have gone through and came across when it comes to being able to communicate, be vulnerable, stand in your own sovereignty and power when it comes to dealing with the mainstream systems, such as the medical system. And you guys will hear a little bit later on what it is that we're exactly talking about when it comes to this. But for now, I'll go ahead and pull our collective card for the day. And this will be out of the Magical Dimensions Oracle deck. Okay, our card of the day, Higher Perspective. Higher perspective represents the cosmos, awakening, and unity. So with that being said, I know for my own self, and I'm sure out in the collective, in some type of way, we may have been feeling what feels kind of like a whirlwind of energy. And during this whirlwind of energy, there's been a lot of experiences that have taken place, whether it's between us and another person, us and an environment, or us with our own self regarding our patterns, our habits, our thoughts, and things of that nature. So as these energies kind of whirlwind and swirl and begin to stir things up, it creates opportunities for change, creates opportunities for growth. And with that comes letting go, as well as embracing. And within that process, it can be difficult. It certainly can be hard. But this is a perfect complement to the root chakra today, because the root chakra is our foundation. It is our grounding center. It is what allows us to be able to be grounded, to be able to be like a tree planted into the earth. So then when the winds blow, when chaos comes, then your leaves and your branches are the only thing that are shaking up a little bit. But we all know that our leaves are supposed to die and they're supposed to drop off for new ones to be born anyway. But then in the center, at the tree trunk and up, it's firm, it's balanced, it's staying put. So just remember that as human beings in this existence that we're in, we are all subject to change. Everything in existence is subject to change. How this change happens? Well, it really depends on you. It depends on how much action you take, how much resistance you have, and many other factors as well. So with this being said, we're being called to embrace more of a higher perspective. Are there any stories of our past that we may be holding on to that are continuing to keep us in cycles of pain or struggle or limitation? Are there any limited beliefs that you're having about yourself, about your capabilities, about life, and what the divine can do for us and with us? Are there any moments where we're getting highly triggered into fight or flight mode? off of very micro and macro level things? Do we find ourselves having a hard time being able to be around our loved ones because we're holding on to things, holding on to resentment, holding on to anger? The reason why I ask all these questions is because all of these different traits or energies can be stored and cause blockages within our root chakra, our chakra of the day. So, as we travel through this Rising with Ra to open up our 2-year anniversary, feel free to grab your journal or anything that you would like to reflect with. And if you would like, maybe consider journaling out anything surrounding what I just spoke on and drop the questions of regarding your root chakra, or anything in your mind that could be holding you from a higher perspective. May we remember the thought patterns that we continue to feed impulsively or unconsciously. It's really easy for us to just impulsively say things that we hear, or impulsively say something like, oh man, I will be healing my whole entire life and I will never truly be healed. Or, it's probably not possible that, I can make that travel, take that vacation, or make that trip by the end of the year. Or, you get invited out to one of my events or one of my retreats, and first thing you do is impulsively say a limited belief and then go with that limited belief. So we have options, we have free will of how we can choose to perceive our reality, what it is that we can cast spells with our words and program ourselves to. So just remember that even the things that you're saying subtly under your breath, the things that you're saying out of anger or frustration, all these different things, they're being heard. They're being programmed. They are affecting your whole entire being and system, mentally, emotionally, and physically. How so physically? Well, it's been proven scientifically that our atoms, our cells, and all the other living things that make up our body are listening to us daily. So yes, it does affect you physically, as we can cast illness and disease upon our own self through our own words. So last thing about this card for us today, higher perspective. Is if you don't know where to start, you don't know how to ascend, you don't know how to become more conscious, just start with yourself. Start with healing and clearing, and focus on your healing and clearing process. Whether it's doing workshops, one-on-one services, taking time out of the day to do conscious journaling and meditation, whatever it is that you like to do in your everyday practices, just know that you can always start with yourself, doing an inventory on your mind, doing an inventory on your emotions, doing an inventory on your physical health, and see if there's anything that could be addressed today. As I'm sure there is always something we can find to do that's productive, healthy, and progressive for ourselves, whether it's something in the world or it's something within ourselves. So that's our collective reading today. Higher perspective. Here on the first episode of the 2nd year anniversary of Rising with Ra. So now, with that being said, hydration check for everybody. Definitely make sure you are hydrating, staying healthy and clean with the water. Super important. Alrighty. So we will go ahead and now move over into our brief education on the chakra of the day. And the chakra of the day is the root chakra. The root chakra is known as the base or the foundation center. So, as you look here, the root chakra So the root chakra is located at the base of the spine. And also, before I continue on, I just want to say too, the chakras are in Sanskrit called wheel of energy or wheel of light. These different chakras or wheels of light align throughout our body, our physical body, that is. And these chakras are basically what you can say as gateways, portals, or access points for different dimensions of our being to be experienced through our physical avatar. So without the chakras and without the energy body, or the light body as we call it, we would not have that bridge, or we would not have the blueprint system to be able to experience the dimensions of emotions, the mind, and beyond. And you guys can actually check out my series on the YouTube channel called Light Body Awareness 101. And Light Body Awareness 101, I do a whiteboard teaching and education on what the light body is, as well as the chakras and some more things. You guys can check that out anytime. Welcome in, Derek. Welcome, Sandy. Thank you. So you guys can always check that out if you want to go in depth about what chakras are. But for now, we shall talk about the root chakra. So the root chakra is located at the base of the spine. The mantra for this chakra is LAM, L-A-M. And then the traits of the root chakra. The root chakra resonates at 396 hertz frequency. So each chakra resonates at a certain frequency. And you can use singing bowls, meditation frequencies, and much more. Tuning forks too, when it comes to these different hertz frequencies. The color that this chakra represents or is connected to is red. And then the chakra is the chakra or energy center that would store our anger, resentment, fear, and pain. This is also our energy center where we access the dimensions of being grounded and inner stability. Connection to abundance, career, and finances is also a direct connection. And then lastly, this is the center for fight or flight mode. So if we are in fight or flight mode constantly, or we're very easily getting triggered into it, that could be a sign that we have blockages going on in our root chakra. So when the root chakra is clear, abundance is able to flow through us more fluidly, more rapidly as well. And this abundance with the root chakra, you think of the root chakra as when it's open, it allows your magnetic system, it allows your energy to be able to fluidly ground into the planetary grid system of Gaia. So then the more fluid you are grounded into the planetary grid system of Gaia, then you are able to naturally and fluidly draw in, attract, and magnetize supportive energies connected to Gaia. So what we may notice is when we have blockages in our root chakra, we may feel scattered. We may feel unbalanced. We may even feel a little lost, even depressed or anxious about our life. And scarcity mindset is also something that comes to mind. But when we have a healthy root chakra and our energy cord is able to flow out of that root chakra and properly anchor into the planetary grid of Gaia, then you feel more of that infinite energy at the bottom half of your being in your body. And you feel this more natural harmonization, inner peace, calmness, stability flowing through it. So we'll go ahead and move over into activation and blocks in this chakra. So yes, chakras can be overactive as well as blocked. The key is balance, having balance with the rotation of the chakra. So if we're overactive in the root chakra, this could look like being lethargic or abrasive, being edgy, having a lack of patience, being on overdrive, and being a workaholic. Blockages in the root chakra. If we are being easily defensive anytime someone's speaking to us, if we are scattered, emotionally unstable, past pains overtaking our present life, money and career issues, disassociation from your human life, and then lastly, having a wild nervous system. These are all symptoms that can manifest with having a block in your root chakra. So I invite you guys out there that may have grabbed your journals or would like to intuitively think within your mind, are there any overactivations? Are there any blockages currently that you're experiencing in your human life? And this is just to be in an honest, gentle inventory with ourselves in just a neutral observer place. You know, yes, I have been experiencing a little bit of fight or flight mode lately. Or, you know, maybe I did get a little scarcity mindset surrounding money last weekend. Just very simple observations. No need to judge yourself. No need to condemn or anything like that. Just observation. Bring it out to the surface. And then later on, when we close out with our root chakra clearing, you can then integrate that with intention to clear that or bring balance to whatever it is that you address. So feel free to ponder upon that and reflect and journal on anything that you would like. And then a little bit later on, when we close out, we'll do a clearing for the root chakra. So now moving over into some ways that can help you with balancing and activating. You have foods and herbs. So this can be any ground veggies or root vegetables like beets, potatoes, carrots, onions, garlic, beans and nut butters, ashwagandha, cloves, paprika, and rosemary. Now, our royal guest today, Sarah, she is someone that has been diving for years now into herbalism and natural remedies. So as we go along and she joins us, maybe we'll see if she has a root chakra recipe for us to be able to bring some clearing to the root chakra today. Alrighty. So then the last thing that I am going to go ahead and pull up before we move on over into our royal guest space is crystals that are good for the root chakra. And crystals that are good for the root chakra, this is going to be pretty much any black crystals or red crystals that you can think of, such as onyx, black tourmaline, hematite, carnelian, jet, garnet, obsidian, and red jasper. These are all beautiful and wonderful crystal helpers that you may utilize for the root chakra. And then I'll give you guys a couple of practices for the root chakra. Some good practices, of course, guided meditations, singing bowls. You can do yoga poses that are aimed for the root chakra. You can also do, the conscious journaling. And then lastly, taking steps, trying out the things that you may have fear surrounding, taking small steps towards achieving or doing those things that you may have fear surrounding. All right. So that now does it for our chakra of the day, the root chakra. And if you ever have questions or comments surrounding the root chakra, feel free to drop it in the chat below, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. And you can always reach out. I do offer one-on-one chakra empowerment teachings as well as workshops that are available. And you get to choose the chakra of your choice. I educate you on it, help you through any journaling of what you can find present in your life. And then we do a integrative guided meditation with affirmations to clear out the root chakra or the chakra of your choice. Alrighty. So now with that being said, we are going to go ahead and take a little commercial break, and then we'll be back with our royal guest, Sara Broadhead. Grab your coffee.
Eastern. We're going to just get into spiritual.
That was weird. All right. Mercury retrograde.
Live. It's going to be next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to just get into spiritual talk, go with the flow, do some readings for everybody, and we can't wait to see you guys there. Sending so much love, and keep rising. We'll see you then. Thank you, guys.
My third eye's open. I can see past the commotion. I can't get lost in a moment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My third eye open. I can see past the commotion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm guaranteed a check like TSA. One in a million like a leap.
All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties for everybody out there. We're dealing with Mercury retrograde energy and whatever else is going on in this world. But coming up tomorrow, I will be hosting and having a guest on for the Sacred Light Community Nightcap. That will be at 9 p.m. Eastern, live on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Well, actually, never mind. It'll just be on Instagram. Sorry about that for all of you. It'll just be on Instagram, and then I'll be uploading it onto YouTube afterwards. So 9 p.m. Eastern on Instagram, and that will be tomorrow. So now we're going to go ahead and invite into the space our wonderful royal guest of today's episode. Today's guest is out of Arizona. She is a very passionate and dedicated mother when it comes to holistic and conscious living. She is someone that has embarked upon herbalism and natural remedies for some years now. And she has made a lot of her own creations and concoctions that she has been able to help bring healing for not just her son, herself, and some others. So today, we are joined by Sara Broadhead out of Arizona, as we will speak on a little bit about her passions. And we will also be speaking on some ways to be able to ground into our root chakra and be able to be confident, to be able to be firm, and to be able to be in our sovereignty and how to exercise that when facing conflict or disagreement with things such as the mainstream medical system. So, joining us, Sara Broadhead. You're on mute.
There. Grand day, everybody. Grand day.
There you are.
Hello.
Welcome, Sara. How are you today?
I am great. It's a lovely, beautiful day. It's a new chapter. It's a Monday. That's cool. And we're here celebrating the 2nd anniversary of Rising with Ra, right? And we're going to talk about something really important that everyone has to hear.
2-year anniversary, and I'm really grateful that you get to be my first guest this season. Thank you for being so.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely, it's an honor. So technology is being a little laggy a little bit, so just bear with us, everybody out there.
Like
You
you
know,
said, Mercury retrograde.
yeah. And,
Mm,
the key is to not allow it to, destroy your mood, not to allow it to destroy your focus, not to allow it to destroy your day, but just to let it be and flow with it. Do what we can with what we have. So with that being
mm.
said, Sarah, what is it that you do? What is it that you're passionate about when it comes to your everyday life?
Well, I'm passionate about breaking out of the mainstream and going with my own flow, but even deeper than that, a more natural approach, a more organic approach to life. In a sense, almost the opposite seems what today is all about, convenience and processed foods and the quickest, easiest medical procedure to get the job done, things like that. Holistic living is a good way to put it, I guess. And that's hard to do in such a toxic world. It really truly is. I mean, just going outside, the air itself is, you know, less than substandard. Do you know what I mean? So, I
Mhm.
mean, it's just a matter of learning how to detoxify your body, clean up the temple. And that's what I'm passionate about, is keeping my temple clean, keeping my loved ones' temples clean and healthy and in the best functionable order it's possible to go forward, Because the information that I feel that's so important about humanity that seems like it's been buried or lost is that the human body can heal itself provided the right conditions. So all that being said, I like to take a natural approach to all that.
Absolutely. And like you're saying, it seems like it's a lost knowledge of ourself, is that,
Yeah.
you know, the human body can heal itself. That's what homeostasis is when it's
Yeah.
in its natural state of repairment or healing. And, something that has kind of been in conversation lately with myself and others is the awareness of, like,
Oh, my
okay,
camera's
so
falling. Hold on.
if what's that?
My camera's falling down here. Darn, Mercury retrograde again.
Oh,
Just kidding. Let me just try to fix this real quick here. Go ahead, keep talking. But
um,
I appreciate you over here for a second.
but yeah. So the thing is like, we want to heal, but are we doing the things to be able to support that natural healing process?
Mm,
As in, like, are we keeping ourselves in an environment that is going to support that for us? Or are we keeping ourselves in the same environments that got us to where we are in the first place?
mm.
Are
You
we
know,
continuing to surround ourselves with those that are actively using
mm,
while we're trying not to use?
mm,
Same
it-
type of example, but in
mhm,
different scope.
mhm,
Same with your healing process. Are you continuing to eat the foods that cause cancer in your body in the first place?
mhm, mhm,
Or are you eliminating the things that were the cause and causing the effects that you're experiencing now,
mhm,
and then changing that with things that are more supportive, either from a sort of balanced or neutral vibration, or from a more higher and alkaline vibration? And if you just think of yourself as an energy and vibration scale, think of your body as, being a natural, organic earth compound or earth vessel. And that vessel resonates at a certain frequency naturally. And I'm pretty sure it's the same frequency as the heartbeat of the earth. And if we are continuing to ingest, continuing to allow into our energy field frequencies that are not of that frequency that we naturally are at or higher, then it's likely that those lower vibrations that we are tuning ourselves to will slowly but surely continue to mold, morph, and shift our whole entire being into a lower frequency. And this is vice versa. If we were to consume and receive line or uplifting frequencies for our being. So when I think about that, the last thing I'll touch on is, I think about my food. If we're going to consume a lot of very, very dense, lower vibrational, synthetic, and artificial frequencies, then it's likely going to do what I just described. But if we are eating things that are more clean, more vibrant, more alkaline, then it's more likely that you will be able to uplift, regenerate, and repair your being. So just think about it. Are we even giving ourselves the time? Are we giving ourselves the environment? Are we even doing the right actions to support our healing process? Or are we continuing to hinder it by repeating what got us there in the first place? What do you think, Sarah?
Oh my gosh, I have so much to say. My secretary's in there putting little notes. Yeah. No, seriously, you're so totally correct. Yeah, like it is so deep too, and it's so important. I was just thinking to myself at the beginning of that. I've heard so many times people say, well, why does it matter? Everything's got stuff in it. Everything's poisonous. Why, basically let's just give up and just accept it and keep doing it, and it's like, wait, guys, we're in such a beautiful time right now where, there's so much beautiful energy on the earth. Whether you believe it or not, it's really true. We're in a beautiful age of enlightenment, right? And there's so many millions of people waking up and, starting their ascension journey. And it's really beautiful. And this is exactly the main reason, in my opinion, why it's so important to keep the body clean, is because with all these beautiful energies and all this opportunity and growth ahead, you don't want anything lagging your energy down or lagging your field down, like having rocks in your pocket, basically, And so, in my opinion, might as well just do the best you can to get rid of the most that you can, to help yourself mentally, physically, spiritually. It's a really big deal, and it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. It truly doesn't. That's also part of what you're saying with the root chakra, a lack mentality, a scarcity mentality. And that in itself too, I was thinking earlier when you were speaking about the different, traits of having a blocked or a overactive root chakra. I was thinking, gosh, it is so easy in today's day and age to get off kilter. Just go to the grocery store. You'll be in a scarcity mentality real quick. And I'm just kind of playing around, being fun with it, but it's true. That in itself takes a little bit of grounding, a little bit of like, okay, we're gonna get through this. Don't be, that in itself. I'll be honest, it does it to me. I have to be, solid when I go to the grocery store. If I'm frazzled, if I'm in a hurry, it just won't turn out the way I want it to turn out. And so, hey, even I, sometimes on a weekly basis, will go through things like this, where the root chakra is, especially recently when the story that we're going to talk about happened. That was a big thing that interrupted my flow in my root chakra. It scared the heck out of me on first thought. My programming wanted to be scared. And I had to talk myself off the ledge and reground myself and all these things, and it worked. And I stayed strong through it. And I think part of me knowing about a root chakra did help me a lot during that occasion. It's just so many different things nowadays with these energies and the quickening of everything. And yep, it's definitely very easy to slip out of the solid foundation of a root chakra, a balanced root chakra, totally. I'm glad this is your topic for today's show, It's perfectly
Absolutely.
timed. It's perfectly timed.
Yeah, because even for my own self, I can recall some experiences just over the weekend at
Yeah.
not my festival, but my retreat,
Mm.
where there was experiences of, really receiving projection-like energies
Mm.
due to fight or flight tendencies of others.
Mm.
And one thing that I just remind us to be aware of is if we're in spaces where there's going to be layers getting peeled and that there's going to be like deep healing work going on, remember to have your groundedness. Remember your protection and shielding. Not in the way of fear, not in the way of good or bad, but just in the level of accountability of your own energy field. Just knowing that when moving through layers, especially deep layers during powerful times like a Lion's Gate gateway, that there could be moments where shadows come out. There could be moments where past versions come through a being to be released or to be faced or whatever it may be in that moment. So just a reminder that when we have a healthy root chakra, when we're grounded properly, we're also more easily able to not take things as personal. We're not able to attach so easily to what's being projected from within another because we're firm in ourselves. We're stable in our knowingness of who we are. And we know that it will pass and alchemize as much as we allow it to. And then on the vice versa side, if you're someone that is impulsively projecting, or you are going into fight or flight very easily, just keep in mind that root chakra. There could be some energies that are stored in that root chakra that have been carried from your past experiences and other energies that could be causing resentment, deep underlying anger, feelings of scarcity, and more. So just keep in mind that there is roots behind everything. Everything is holistic, as they say. There's a cause to every effect. There's an effect to every cause. So if we're on either side of the coin, just keep in mind that there are things to look at in either way to be able to become more grounded and become more in our root center so that we do not have to continue to go through so many of these type of experiences, especially if it's with our loved ones and those that we really care about, because it can be very painful, it can be very hurting, it can be almost trauma causing if we are not conscious of our projections and the way that we very forcefully put our energy onto another person. Just a nice reminder for all of you guys out there. So Sarah, I know you've been doing herbalism for quite a while now.
Yeah, 29 years.
Wow, really?
Yeah, yeah. So my journey started when I was in high school with herbs, and that was because I had severe anaphylactic reactions to antibiotics. I had 3 of them in a row from 3 different medications. And at that point, I decided I'm not okay with this. And so it was kind of my father's idea, my dad's idea. He was really cool. But anyway, he took me to at the time, he was a chiropractor and also a licensed homeopath doctor. You know, not to be scoffed at. He does have a doctorate of homeopathy. And that's how it all began. You know, he did things, I'm not sure, it's best testing or like muscle testing type techniques and things like that. And at the time, I didn't quite understand what he was doing. But looking back, I now understand that he was doing muscle testing and adjusting, and then he was intuitively somehow connecting with myself, and he would find the exact remedy I needed. And within days, I would be better. I would have no side effects. You know, unlike the allopathic medicine and what it did to my body. You know, I'm not saying that that's how it treats everybody, but me personally, I just couldn't deal with it. So I found something better, in my opinion. So actually, how I learned about the herb part was, say, for example, I went in for a cold or something, and he would give me a homeopathy remedy, which would be little tiny sugar pellets you'd put underneath your tongue. They come in like a little envelope, and that's how you take them, okay? But along with that, he would suggest a certain herb or something to go get to make a tea out of. And so when he started mentioning these herbs, it started piquing my interest, and that's how I very first started with herbs in general, was just as an accompaniment to my medication, which today would be called integrative medicine, right? Or a variation of functional medicine or integrative medicine. And that's something I really hope that our society becomes interested and accepts quickly, is the combination of allopathic medicine and naturopathy, basically, on different modalities. So, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I didn't even know that you've been doing it for that long. I thought that was something that you kind of picked up in the most recent years as a new passion of yours. That's very interesting.
Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, over the years, I, you know, lived my life as a 20-year-old and what have you, and, you know, fell away from it, didn't really take care of myself at all, you know, whatever, you know, went back. But now that I'm on my spiritual journey, I've been on my spiritual journey since like the end of 2015, I suppose. That was the height of it. I suppose it started in 2014. And so, yeah, ever since that date and time, I've been on my journey, and it's just increased every you know, day by day. It's I realize how important it is, and I have such a passion for it. So I want to do something with that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for example, like I just last week helped one of my friends with her dog, and he was super duper ill, and he was lethargic, and he was listless, not drinking, not eating, you know, just laying there, I mean, for days upon end. And she called a veterinarian, and she went through, and they told her antibiotics and steroids was their recommendation. And so she had them, and we happened to be chatting, and I said, well, why don't you try oregano oil? It'd be less evasive on his body. And she was like, maybe. And then I went and did a little bit of research, which only took a couple minutes, and I found all kinds of really great information on dogs and things that can be used, so the herbs and so forth. And so I started a little quick, you know, deep dive, and within minutes, I found the correct solution, and it verified what my intuition had said. And so I told her all about it, sent her all the data. She did her own decision making, and she went ahead and she tried the advice. And her dog, she just told me a couple of days ago, her dog is running around like a puppy, like she hasn't seen him since he was a puppy. And she says she's shocked and she's beside herself, and she thanked me very much. So it's just small little things like that I love to do, that make my day. Like, I also treat my own chickens I have in my backyard with herbs too. So, yeah.
That's really beautiful. So,
Well, that's what our ancestors did. That's what a good segment of the world still does, actually. But yeah.
Yeah. So, with all this being said, do you have anything available? Do you have anything that people can purchase from you, or maybe even get like a custom request made, anything like that?
Yeah. At this point, I'm really loving the doing custom requests, simply because I'm not quite sure on exactly how I'm going to proceed with this journey. But currently, I'm helping about 3 people, through some stuff. I'm not a doctor by any means, of course. And matter of fact, during these processes, all these people have different professionals helping them as well. So that's what it is I kind of I like being the person that can give them the advice they're looking for. I know someone right now that's dealing with repairing their gut. I know somebody right now who is dealing with lowering their blood pressure. Myself, I take things daily all the time too. Yeah, if anybody wants any second opinions or any of what I feel about a certain disorder or topic, please feel free to message me or to email me, and I'll give him my details if he wants and all that stuff. So yeah, absolutely. But as far as making a business of it, that's in the very beginning of this, I said it's a new chapter, and that's kind of what I was referring to, because I've been an entrepreneur for since 2017, and I've owned a cleaning company and still do. But I really want to follow my heart and my passion and get the herbal world going for me, and for everyone else, and help spread the knowledge that I have in my mind and help heal people. I think it's so very important that we get our temples set straight. If you don't feel good in your body or your mind or your spirit, how is it possible to do your very best, the best that you deserve every day? It's not possible. So yeah, that's where I'm going with all this. So I'm pretty excited about it.
I agree, and it's a great point. And to also think about just manifesting or attracting, and how important it is to have a clean temple and vessel for that in itself. Knowing that, through our being, we manifest into this material realm, which is through the third eye chakra. And then also remembering that our magnetism, or our law of attraction that we hear about, is due to our electromagnetic system that flows through our being. So if this electromagnetic system, which I feel like I've been teaching almost every single day in the last couple of weeks, it's really important to understand that through our being and through our temple is the heaven on earth. is the manifesting into the material. It's not
Yes.
something that happens solely outside of our being. It's something that is going on through and within our being that is then being projected and perceived through our being into our reality. So then if you look at our electromagnetic field, which is also called our toroidal field, this is how we naturally, through magnetism, draw in and collect energy, information, and experiences. So then as we draw these in and they begin to filter through our being, through our chakras, and then experience it through our physical senses, we are then able to have a more clear intuitive connection, as well as more clear understanding of what it is that the information is coming into our field, as well as being able to release more naturally any of the information that no longer suits us. So yeah, it's definitely super important to have a clear temple, clear energy field, so that you're able to, and last thing I'm going to touch on is to attract the frequencies and vibrations that you truly wish to attract. As we say, the change starts with us. Our embodiment is so key to all of it. If our vibrational embodiment is of a low density and vibration, swirling with all of these negative patterns of the past, all these limited beliefs, and all these different things, then it's more than likely that we will not truly manifest the fullness of what it is that we intend to manifest, due to, your manifesting machine, known as the human body here, has been programmed and filled with incorrect information for those manifestations that you're trying to manifest. So you got to reprogram that machine, the human body, to be in the programming of what it is that you intend to attract and manifest.
Can I add something to that?
Please.
Our being here on this earth, in this earth, being here, we are all programmed, for lack of a better explanation, to not believe that this is even a thing. What? Create our own reality? Oh, that's nonsense. What do you mean? I'm a victim. That's what we're programmed to have as a thought process. And I believe, in my opinion, that a dirty temple, eating these processed foods, these chemicals you can't pronounce, why should there be 40 ingredients on something you can't even pronounce, for goodness sake? Those things, in my opinion, keep us in that matrix, if you will, and keep us at a low vibration, like you're saying. And it makes it so hard to get pure, to get clean, to purify your energy, it dilutes you.
Yes, indeed. And I start to notice the difference, really quickly.
Yeah.
It could take one day for me to eat some dairy or some meat and then processed food. And then next thing I know, I literally start feeling like I'm in a lower vibration. I start feeling like I don't have energy to make it through the day. My stomach starts hurting. And then all of a sudden, I just have no drive. I can't even really be in tune with my emotions.
Yeah.
These are all symptoms I've noticed.
And just look at society right now. No offense to society. We love you, society. But that's what was the goal, yeah? Because, A, with these energies coming in, we must all rise higher, and we will, and we are, and the Matrix wants us to stay. It doesn't want people to go. It says, no, stay here. No, thank you. I'm ready to go, Yeah, you're so correct on all that.
And, speaking of these experiences of, resistance and one-dimensionalness, that is a common theme, and it has been projected so commonly in the mainstream world, especially in different systems like the medical system.
Oh, yes.
I think it's a great way for us to be able to segue into speaking on some personal experiences that myself and you have both had recently when it has came to the mainstream medical system.
Yeah.
So feel free, if you wish, to share a little bit with the collective.
Yeah, so recently we had a really wild experience happen. And I'm going to kind of put a little bit of red paint and tape on there and not use any names, but it was about me and my son. Simply because I don't want to stir the pot. I just want people to be aware of what happened. And I think it's very important. We're talking about being solid and, having our root chakra be balanced and not being reactionary and all these things. And I went through a super duper crazy experience, which was such a trigger for my root chakra coming out of balance and all kinds of things happening. And well, I feel I handled it pretty well. So what happened was a few weeks back, we had a virus go through my family, I believe, because the three of us had symptoms. I started out with me on Monday, and I had some intestinal issues. 36 hours later, my partner had issues as well in his intestines. And then less than 36 hours later after that, my son was complaining about pain on his right side, which appeared to be appendicitis. So upon a further investigation, we decided to go to the emergency room instead of urgent care and all those things. And so I really didn't want to do it, but I had to, just to be sure that everything was going to be okay, that he wasn't in dire, emergency, right? Who knows? But you can't play around with that kind of stuff. You got to go find out, at least, whether I agree with their medicine or not. I needed to find out. So we went, and sure enough, he had appendicitis. Well, we went at 4 p.m. on a Sunday. So by the time we got through like a few testings and so forth and this and that, it was 9 or 10 p.m., I think, something like that. And so they just said, well, we're going to go ahead and check you in, and then we'll wait for a room because the whole hospital was full. So we stayed in like a little side room in the emergency room that night. And that next day, it's a long story. And I know we've already had an hour and 9 minutes, so I won't take too long with the story. But this surgeon guy comes in, and we chat. And the first thing he says to me is, "Hi, I'm not so sure your son needs surgery. My name is so-and-so." "Oh, hi, so-and-so. How are you today?" Anyway, so we were in the emergency room overnight, and I had a lot of time to sit there and research, and I love researching. It's also a passion of mine. I love reading studies, dry, bland stories, and studies and things like that about medicines and remedies and new bits of information they found. I love it. Anyway, so I spent a lot of time reading that night and that morning about appendicitis and everything to do with it, Anyway, my stance is that I wasn't quite sure that I was okay with the surgery unless it was absolutely necessary, like if he had a perforation or something like that where it was serious, where he could be very ill or worse, So anyway, long story short, we got a CAT scan done. We got sent up to a room upstairs in the hospital. And, so the doctor comes in and tells us he needs surgery. And I'm like, oh my God. Because that's a big deal to me, in my opinion. And I'd read a lot about surgeries and how they're a thing of the past. And there's so many different therapies and things that you can do nowadays, especially with the new information, that are far superior. Like, for example, the doctor said, oh, it's not a big deal. Surgery is easy. We have studies. It's safe. Not a problem. The appendix has no purpose anyway. And what I had found was that recently science had learned that no, actually the appendix has very important functions, And those functions are giving bifidobacteria to the small intestine and colon, and also the oil can, if you will, the small intestine, which I guess helps in the process of moisturizing the mucilage for elimination. And so there actually is a function to appendix, because I've read many articles saying that for years that doctors felt there was no purpose to it. It was just basically a useless organ. And I had kind of sentiments about, the tonsil thing back in the day. Everyone's tonsils were taken out. Now they're realizing maybe they shouldn't have done that, right? Anyway, and so I said, are you sure, doc? Are you sure? Anyway, the point is that their protocol says surgery, okay? And from everything I read, I was notating his symptoms, hour by hour. I was writing down how he was feeling, because when I first brought him in, he was in a wheelchair. He couldn't even walk. That's how much pain he was in. And at the point where they were saying surgery and all these things, he was able to move, and he actually got out of bed on his own. So I was seeing he was improving. Yeah. And I was telling the doctors all the information that I found, and they didn't want to hear it. I don't know if they couldn't hear it or didn't want to hear it, because these doctors have a thing with our medicine system, the way it's formed. They have a centralized medicine, if you will, not so much like socialism, but in its way, because it's run by corporations. So they have a board of directors, and I'm not sure what all the specifics are, but they have people that make rules and protocols for each disease and thing, and I'm not sure if that's for legality. I'm not sure if that's to, follow the AMA. I'm not exactly sure precisely what it's for. It could be all the above. Either way, so the protocol for appendicitis was surgery, and it didn't sit right with my gut. I thought, no, this is not going to be a good thing. There's something more to this, and I kept researching. And now this is all researching with peer-reviewed, acceptable, legit data, from PubMed and NIH, credible sources, and everything I was finding was going against what they were saying. And I was stuck in this really weird, it was a fight or flight situation, because I was like, at this point, I'm like, wait, how come these people don't know what I'm reading? They're supposed to be in a health place. How come I look like a conspiracy theorist here? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with this picture? Anyway, what I was saying is that they had intravenous antibiotics, and that's how it was working for and it seemed like he was taking very well to it. And so they said, we need to have surgery on him. And I said, wait. And this is, I'm kind of diluting the story down quite a bit, because you'll understand why in a minute. But basically I said, no, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with him doing surgery. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, because he's got neurodivergence, and neurodivergent children are very, very susceptible to having problems with their gut flora, And I said, I think by taking out his appendix, we're going to cause him major problems down the road. And of course, they came back with, no, there's studies. I said, no, I can guarantee you there's no studies on neurodivergent children 20 years later. Right? And so I said, no, I'm sorry, we can't have the surgery. Let's continue to do this. I said, I'm not refusing surgery, but let's just continue doing what we're doing here. What you're doing, which was intravenous antibiotics, is working. Look, the child's improving tremendously. And because I said this, I wasn't saying no. I was saying, let's wait. Look, All the signs are showing he's improving. I don't know what your protocol says. I don't really care, frankly, in my opinion. I see my child, he's improving. Let's wait. All I was asking was to wait 36 hours and let's go from there. Let's see how he looks in 36 hours. And if they feel he still needs surgery, well, then let's do it. And because I requested that, they called CPS on me. Yep. And that, my friends, all that right there was a very triggering moment, if you can't tell by the way I'm recalling it, right? Yeah. And so, I mean, this is craziness. I can't believe that they called medical neglect on me. And I'm like, neglect? I'm in a hospital. How can I be neglecting my child if I'm in a hospital? Wouldn't I be at home on the couch if I was neglecting anything? I don't know. But anyway, so this is what I wanted to bring to the light of everyone to see, because, you know, I don't know whether we have such a polarized, divided world where these doctors actually thought I was talking complete nonsense, or they are unable to even agree with me because of the strict protocol that's been set up in these hospitals of ours. You know, there's supposed to be, you know, and furthermore, wouldn't, if the protocols are so strict like that, wouldn't that in itself go against the Hippocratic oath of a doctor? What if a protocol does go against a patient's best interest, like my son's, for example? Are they supposed to still go along with the protocol? I'm sure it's a moral dilemma they have inside themselves every day. I don't know. But I experienced it, and I think we all need to talk about it. I think it's very important.
Absolutely. I agree. You know, I think it's extremely important, especially because, like, we're talking about high level of, you know, our life that we're speaking on. And we are actually talking about life and death, and we're talking about, you know, our health and our ability to be able to even have a functioning living and being able to do everyday things. And if we are just being forced into a limited scope of, you know, what we're supposed to be or how we're supposed to heal and all these different things, then it's no coincidence that we're seeing a lot of people that are returning back with the same symptoms, the same diseases, the same old thing over and over. When we somehow believe that there's a one-size-fits-all when it comes to the healing of our unique individual human beings. Now, yeah, there may be some things that can be relative for some, but for some people are not going to naturally resonate with certain ways of processing, certain ways of going through their healing. And I feel like, you know, this is kind of a missing component in the mainstream medical world is compassion, compassionate inquiry, actually building a empathetic connection with that client or with that patient, and truly understanding what type of uniqueness they need for their healing process, whether it's, you know, structure, or if it's eliminating, or if it's introducing something with, you know, great benefit without as many side effects. And it's just really sad to see, you know, the instant impulsive jumping of the gun when it comes to not all doctors, but some doctors that are just so one-dimensionally programmed.
Yeah.
That they not allow themselves to have an open heart and open mind just to even consider a different possibility outside of their own knowing because of what they've been taught.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's not all doctors, and I want to stress that, not all doctors and or medical professionals by any means. But I see a lot of times where ego, how could you know? You didn't take medical school. But guess what? I can read too. Just like you. You know? Yeah. So I think the question really is, what is it? Is it the control that's put on these doctors that they can't? Otherwise, they're going to lose their job? We've heard over the past 4 years with this whole pandemic that we all went through, the nurses were talking about what would happen if they deviated from the protocol. They lost their job. And what a way to interrupt your healing and growth if you gotta deal with all that. Yeah. So what do people do? Like you're saying, they're kind of forced in a way to just keep going and doing the same thing we've been doing for how long? It's kind of like we have to bring awareness to this topic so we can break out of it. We can see right here where this is where the conflict is that we have to keep paying these bills in our lives and so forth and what have you until we all come up with a better solution. But on the other hand, we must still, right? Bring in the energy of awareness and growth and independence, and so it's.
I know exactly what you're saying. And this is kind of something that I've been doing myself and been really taking initiative in is not just like, sitting around and complaining and just trying to project, but, I'm becoming aware of these things. And then instead of just sitting in it and complaining, I'm just creating spaces. I'm using the tools and the practices that I know in order to basically counterbalance and counteract the things that I'm seeing by showing not only myself, but showing others that, yes, we do have energy-based practices and techniques and tools that we can use in our everyday life that we have used ever since our ancestors first came here.
Yeah.
And it's still all valid. It's still all valid things that help us every day. And for me personally, holistic practices and holistic healing, if it wasn't for it, I would not have broken out of my addictive patterns. I would not have been able to start grounding and being this calm, grounded person that you guys see every day. I used to be very impulsive. I used to have a lot of passionate energy that could easily turn into frustration or anger. And meditation and other practices were the reasons why I was able to become the way I am now. And not just that, but I haven't even really told this story publicly, but I even healed my left MCL in my knee naturally through energetics and herbal remedies.
Nice.
And what I did was I just sat with myself intuitively and put together a combination of different holistic tools that I had. Number one, I would use my selenite right here. The selenite energetically helps clear out any blockages. It helps recalibrate and shift the energy field from anything that could be causing negativity or blockages. So I'd use my selenite and I'll do these sessions where I'd be laying down, and then I'd have a frequency on as well, such as 528 hertz, which is good for upliftment and regeneration. And then I would place that selenite on my knee, and then I would actually utilize cannabis as well due to the cannabinoids and the THC, because cannabinoids literally go into your system and they start basically stimulating, repairing, and regrowing parts of your cells and biology. So knowing that, I would utilize the cannabis consciously going into my practice, and then lay down, have the selenite on my knee, and then I'll place my hands on the knee, because I am a Reiki practitioner, and we can actually all channel Reiki energy if we have the intention. And I would just do Reiki on the knee. I'd have the frequency going, the selenite on my knee as well, and then I'd also have the cannabinoids in my system. And then I'll basically just lay down and surrender to all of the medicines together and focus on my breath and just focus on breathing.
Nice.
And allowing and trusting my knee is repairing. And that trust goes a long way. You got to be able to trust that what's happening is happening, that these tools, these things that you just put effort into to place and put it together are going to do what they are meant to do. Your trust is key in that, to allow it to happen and not rush it. And another thing is, we got to eliminate instant gratification if we truly, truly want to be able to heal something thoroughly. Sometimes it takes time. It takes effort to really rid something. As in, not just slightly cover it up with a Band-Aid to where it can just continue the pattern, if not pattern even worse than before. And this is something that we find happening a lot in the mainstream medical system, is no true repairment, no true bridging or regeneration of the body.
Yeah.
And I can actually go ahead and move into the example I have for the collective with this. And this is regarding my father. So some of you may know that have been following me that my father, about 3 months ago, he had a brain hemorrhage and he went to the hospital. So during that process, I was there quite often, almost every day as I could. And through this process, I was able to see for my own self what it's like in the medical system. So, number one, something I notice is there's quite a bit of people in there that are educated, so to say. They're educated on health and medical according to, the indoctrination that they have taken on. But then what I find weird is I'll be there and I'll ask a very common, simple question about health or about the process of the body and healing. And they would have no clue on what I'll be speaking on. Very, very simple, basic things about health. I brought up very simple superfoods like reishi mushroom. And it's really weird. The FDA has this psychological grip on people, and people have been overpowered by the FDA. And they literally acted like and treated it like it was going to be heroin or something, Like, is it really, that difficult to try to, pass through and get a fully natural superfood with zero side effects into the hospital for my father to take?
Mm.
So, I tried to get the reishi for my father to take in the hospital, and they put really no effort into it. And all they did was just say, well, it's not FDA approved, blah, blah, blah. When really there is a process that they can do, which is they can go get it ran through, get it examined, make sure that there's no side effects from it, and then, decide from there based off the results. But really, there's like minimal, if not no effort whatsoever to be able to bring something in that would be able to help bring regeneration and repairing and healing to my father. So instead of that, I had to sit there and watch him literally just go through a looping cycle day after day of no actual solutions happening.
Yeah.
Where it's today he had 200 blood pressure, and then we're gonna go ahead and stab him with an IV, and we can't find the space to do the IV, so we're just gonna continuously keep on stabbing him with the IV needle. So then he'd be on the IV, his blood pressure would stay regulated for maybe like 2 days. All of a sudden it'd be back to 200. And this became a repeating cycle over and over while I stood back. So I started getting tired of it. And I decided that enough was enough. And mind me too, in this process, I asked multiple times as well, if this does not start creating solutions to this pattern that is continuing to happen, is there something else that we can do? And they really basically had no other solutions to offer. And this is supposed to be, the top of the line. We're out here idolizing this medical system as the best that can possibly be. But yet they can't even find a simple fucking solution to regulate my father's blood pressure. That is such a basic level health that it really mind blows me how what is supposed to be claimed and advertised as the most reliable, the most knowledgeable, and the best health system there is can't even find a way to regulate somebody's blood pressure consistently.
That's because they don't address health, Marcus. They don't address nutrition. I believe there's a stat or something out there that the average doctor gets a couple hours of health nutrition training in their whole entire degree.
Yep. So then also, rather than making sure water and hydration is his main priority going into his system, their main priority was pharmaceuticals more than anything. So he's getting all these pharmaceuticals, but then he's getting minimal water and hydration throughout the days. So now listen to this. He started steadily digressing, not progressing, digressing as time went on, to the point where his liver started to not intake nutrients well. Anytime he'd try to digest through swallowing, he'd be throwing up.
Wow.
So then they put a tubing system into his stomach, which I'll be honest, I feel like is slightly caused due to, their ineffectiveness to take care of things. Because that was not happening in the beginning. But so he was at basically 20 milliliters of nutrients being absorbed through his tubing system every hour. And that's very, very minimal. Very minimal. On top of that, his blood pressure was consistently going back up to the 200s about every 2 days. And this is where the real testimony steps in. I decided that I was going to go ahead and start initiating Reiki sessions on my father at the hospital, whether they liked it or not. And I did not look for their consent to do so. So I started doing Reiki on him. And the nurses respected it. A lot of times I see that the nurses are very much on the same page as the people.
Yeah.
But then you have the doctor, and the doctor is very egoic of their power. And then that can kind of rattle and take over nurses. But my point, I went in and I started practicing Reiki sessions on him. And the nurses would support it. They would close the door. They would help out, stuff like that. And as soon as I started doing the Reiki sessions, all of a sudden, his liver started progressively intaking more nutrients.
Awesome.
So then by the time day 3 in a row of Reiki sessions came, his nutrient intake was at the goal mark, which is 63 milliliters instead of 20. And then on top of that, his blood pressure would not go back over 180 whatsoever. Now, none of this was happening. He was digressing up until I started practicing the Reiki sessions. And then I start practicing the Reiki sessions. By day 3, he's meeting his goal mark for nutrition in his liver. And his blood pressure does not go back over 180 from here on. So I did 5 days of Reiki in a row at the hospital on my dad. And ever since I started, that was when he started progressing instead of digressing with the way that the medical system was taking care of him.
Yeah.
So with that being said, after hearing such a testimony, I just invite everybody that's listening to really consider for their own self where they are lying their trust. Where are you allowing specific individuals or specific places to dictate and give you the beliefs of your health or what's possible? And also just critically think for yourself, underneath those layers, like what kind of intention, what kind of energies, or what kind of people and system could this really be that we are putting our trust into, that is focused on all of these things that we've spoken on, instead of focusing on the things that me and Sarah have done ourselves or shared as a way of the healing process.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I've always been someone that never really was about relying on hospitals, relying on the medical system. And it just really showed me why. And it's not in a way of good and bad. It's more in the way of claiming back your power,
Yeah.
claiming back your intelligence of yourself,
Mm.
and knowing that there are so many different ways out there to heal other than a pharmaceutical,
Yeah.
other than following an agenda that doesn't even naturally resonate for you. And the last thing I want to touch on is there's a lot of holes in the reliability of the medical system that we are in today.
Mhm.
So my father is getting discharged from the rehab center. And he gets discharged and he's still on a tube feeding system, so we have to set that up at home. Number one, they send me all this stuff for it, and they barely even show me how to even set it up or how to even turn it on and get it started. Then I call a nurse, and then the nurse basically tells me my best bet is to YouTube how to do it.
YouTube?
So I'm 2 hours late for work at this point, trying to figure out how to set this up for my dad's life so he can actually live. And then on top of that, so my dad had 2 different packs of things that will go into his tube feeding system. One pack is nutrients, the other pack is water. They failed to say a word and even mention the water packs. So they sent me home with nutrition packs, say not a word about the water. And my dad, the whole time up until he was discharged, was literally on both nutrients and water through his tubing system. So we get home, have the worst time ever trying to set up this thing, get no support from the nurse or from the hospital whatsoever. And then a few days go on. Next thing I know, my dad is basically becoming lightheaded and all that stuff. Comes to find out he was extremely dehydrated due to the fact that the rehabilitation center had failed him on his discharge process of making sure he had everything that he needed in order to survive and live as a human being. And I'm going to reiterate that again. They failed to discharge him with everything he needed in order to live and survive in his one human being life that he gets with this body. And if it was not for having a family friend that was taking care of him here, I was literally in Pennsylvania at the time, teaching at a festival. If my dad would have been here by himself, he could have passed away likely. Enough is enough with these medical systems and their holes. Enough is enough of them walking around, especially these doctors, trying to act all big and bad, acting like they know everything when they don't. And there's a lot of testimonies and a lot of lives out here that are not getting the proper treatment that they need, the proper empathy, the proper care and compassion to really even be able to have a real life and to truly heal. I mean, how how can it be that you literally forget to even mention that he's on an intake of water?
Yeah.
Like, it just really mind blows me. So with that being said,
Excuse me.
I'm just I'm in a place where I put the trust in myself.
Mm.
I put the trust in myself, put the trust in those around me that are in tune with and aware of holistic healing and energy healing. And remember, people, we were not created on this earth without the earth being able to supply us through the Creator, through God, whoever you like to describe it as, creating remedies and medicine within the earth.
God created plants.
Our medicine was great. But yeah, to close that out, it's just, it really spoke volumes to me, the whole process. And it also spoke volumes to me on, you know, being able to see for myself, like, wow, okay. Everything that they were doing, including having no other solutions when I would ask them questions, is not even close to doing the job. But yet, I just come in and started doing some simple Reiki and instantly start seeing progress.
Mm.
That in itself should tell you something.
Yeah.
So allow that to process.
You know, that's great, Marcus, that you did Reiki on him. I think that's really awesome. It's a great idea. Because, you know, what a better thing to do than reset the energy of a person who is in healing process. You know, like, I just encourage everybody, whether you be in the medical field or whether you just be a person who's a patient or what have you, no matter what it is, this topic or otherwise, stay true to yourself. Like, yeah, I only told half the story of what happened that day, you know, but what happened is that guy, person, I should say, came from the Child Protective Services, and he was actually a very nice human being. Very, very kind, you know? And I just stated the facts, and that's all I had to do. Stay strong and stay true to myself and stay true to the truth, because the truth shall set you free, yeah. You know, and so I just know that what I was doing and the perspective I was taking and the information I had found was legitimate, and that if I stood up for my son, that the truth shall prevail and everything should go right, you know. It's a scary place to be in, but it's worth it. You know, and as far as, like, we need to support each other too. As far as staying strong and keeping our chakras balanced to keep our strength, because we need to encourage each other to have the courage to band together and to speak out, and so we can change these things. That's why we're here, after all, isn't it? To build anew. Right?
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
And you know, don't forget to, you know, don't forget the knowledge that you have. Don't forget the tools and the practices that you have whenever you go into situations. And it's very easy to, you know, it's very easy to just all of a sudden, all right, now we're in a health emergency.
Yep.
First thing I can think of is the hospital, and now all my care and all of my confidence and just all of my trust into the hospital. And then we just forget that, like, oh yeah, I do have all this knowledge and experience on herbal remedies and natural remedies that could actually eradicate this. Or,
Yep.
I am a Reiki practitioner and I can use Reiki and things like that. Because, I did in the beginning kind of forget that, because there's such an intense programming around hospitals
Yeah.
that, I just gave my trust to the hospital. And I was like, oh, you know what? They'll do exactly what they need to, and they'll know everything to do for him. So I'm just going to sit back and let them do it. And then what I found was, naturally, my spirit started getting angry. And my spirit was not getting angry directly at them. It was getting angry because I was not using my tools. I was not using my practices within myself in order to be of service and help.
It's frustrating.
So then it's for sure.
Ugh.
So then I had a process of, getting angry, getting upset at the medical system. And I wouldn't ever like extremely project it or anything like that. But now I did ask pretty intense and focused questions to them on things that needed to be answered. And yeah, with that being said, just don't forget that, like, even if someone's at a hospital, or even if they're in, the care of somebody else, just know that you're not powerless.
Yeah.
And there are ways for you to integrate, whether it's your knowledge or your practices, into those spaces, such as what I did, which was literally go into the hospital and go do full-on Reiki sessions in the hospital on my dad. You're not limited to only what the hospital can do. And along with that, if you're able to bring in nutrients from the outside into the hospital for them, I highly suggest it. Because if you know anything about nutrition, and the body can heal with nutrition, then you'd probably not be supporting what they give their patients in there, because the food that they give them pretty much looks like jail or school food. And it does not have the complex nutrients that are necessary and needed for somebody to heal. And not just somebody, but somebody that's in a critical health position. It's very contradicting.
I'm going to say something about this. I have a lot of vitriol, a lot of frustration, and I'll say it, a lot of anger in my heart about the whole topic. It pisses me off. It pisses me off that we call these people healthcare professionals, and they are you should go look at their cafeteria, but I'm not going to go there, right? I have to control that and know that light changes things, not darkness. More darkness won't change darkness. Only light changes darkness. So I too agree with you. I have a lot of those feelings about this medical system, and to me it's just a disease maintenance system, because they do not treat the body. They do not nourish the body. They only surgically do things and pills, Anyway, just contain that, or use it as a motivation and an inspiration to create the change. Because I really wanted to go in there and be like, Roger! But I knew I couldn't do it. It would come off the wrong way and it wouldn't be effective. So, light is information, right? So bring light, bring information to the subject. It will win. Yeah. One match can light up a room, right?
That's right. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, guys, just do not be afraid to express yourself. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to want solutions and clarity. Because from my experiences, I think it's pretty weird to know that I ask questions or ask for solutions or potential solutions, and the doctor doesn't even know. It's like,
True.
what's next after that? Like, who do you rely on? Who do you ask after the main doctor doesn't even know? And that's where you really have to start seeking something higher and something within yourself. And remember, you can always self-educate yourself every day, especially with the technology in our hands, the courses that are available everywhere. You can self-educate yourself. And yeah, it may take a little effort, but think about what that could do, not only for you, but for your loved ones and others, by being educated on the health, being educated on how healing actually works. And if you don't want to do it yourself, allow yourself to be open to your support. If you're someone that knows a bunch of conscious community, you know me, you know Sarah, you know others, and you speak with us all the time, reach out to us, ask questions, be open for guidance, and see what we have to offer. Or if I can come out and do Reiki sessions, or if I can come out and help do deep healing work, or if Sarah can make you a concoction for what it is that you need help eradicating. We have so many resources within our own communities of life outside of the medical system that I think we just may have forgotten because we've been so heavily programmed to rely on the medical system that we forget that, oh yeah, some of my greatest friends are well versed in healing and holistic healing. And I'm not even using them as a resource or a tool for what it is that they're here to provide in their purpose.
Yeah. Or even using your common sense. Don't allow some other person's opinion in a time where things are less than perfect to sway your common sense, you know. In my situation as well, the doctor literally at the end, it all turned out great, guys, by the way. But at the end, it was very interesting. I asked at the end, well, doc, now that it's all said and done, do you have any recommendations for my son's nutrition going forward in order to help heal this? His answer was, I don't know. Just like you experienced with your dad. Like people, I thought, you don't know?
You don't
I said,
know?
well, sir, yeah. I said, sir, I'm doing probiotics, prebiotics, fiber. I'm doing mung beans. I'm doing slippery elm. I'm doing marshmallow root. Anything else that you suggest? He goes, no, I don't know. I don't have any idea. I was like, okay. Well, thank you, sir. Have a great day. You know, anyway, I thought that was very interesting. You call yourself a health professional, and then you want to be insulted because I asked to tour from the protocol. Okay.
Bro, you can't even recommend one thing to help kickstart their... Oh my.
Yeah. How come me, owning a cleaning company over here, knows more about this than you do? And you're the one who gets paid the big bucks. What's going on here?
That's the one thing I want to touch on as well, is like, don't be fooled by the image. Don't be fooled by a label. Don't be fooled by whatever title they have. Just because someone has DR next to their name,
MD,
or MHD, or whatever it may be, it does not mean they know everything that there is to know about that subject.
True.
And we have given many examples that throughout.
And I'm not trying to be shady and shisty about doctors or whatever. I am trying to be shady and shisty about the acceptance of blind acceptance of this outdated data that is controlled by the opposition. Because doctors and nurses usually have really nice spirits and hearts because they want to help others. They're usually healers. It's when ego gets in the way.
Healers that have been
hijacked,
used by a certain system.
Yeah, well, they're in a different mode. Yeah, I mean, eventually, I suppose, in my opinion, I believe in reincarnation, so maybe not this lifetime they won't, but maybe next lifetime they'll proceed to the levels of healing that, either way, that's a different topic for a different day, I think, but, yeah. Right.
But hey, with all this being said, I give love, and I want to shout out to, all the doctors and nurses out there with good hearts and intentions that are doing their best to help people. And may those that are staying strong in their ego and not being willing to be an observer, be a listener, be able to really connect with their patients and clients. I could wish for you just to be able to open a little bit more, to be able to embrace other views, to be able to embrace unconditional love from different people and different outlets.
Yeah.
Because man, it's a collaboration here. We're all in a collaboration. It's not about your title and thinking that you're better or that you're the only one because of a title.
Or the years of dedication. Yeah.
I can run laps on knowledge all day around a lot of people with major titles in different aspects. But that's not the point. It's about being open-minded, being open-hearted, being able to see the divine within everybody, knowing that there can be divine messages and divine intelligence within each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Even if we're not a doctor.
So true.
That's right.
Yeah.
So with all this being said, how about we close out with a little bit of a root chakra clearing?
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds wonderful. I don't know if you can see on my table here, I have a bunch of root chakra and obsidian and selenite and everything right here. I don't know if you can see.
Awesome. Yeah, I got selenite. I got a black moonstone. Got a desert rose.
Desert rose. Oh, that's cool. I have one too. It's just a single rose, but yeah, that one's a nice piece. It's got several on there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Alrighty. So yeah, to close out that space, just want to remind everybody that the whole point of those expressions was not about divide, not about hate.
No.
It's about becoming aware, becoming enlightened upon the things that are really not so perfect, that are being broadcasted as perfect. Being able to just really become more aware and become more in our own power when it comes to our rights, to our sovereignty as human beings. And lastly, to remember that you're capable of healing.
Yep.
And you are capable of becoming educated on ways of healing. And if you see flaws, if you see things that are out of alignment and are not actually doing the purpose of what you're there for, don't be afraid to be in your truth. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Ask questions. Now, don't try to blame or shame, but just try to ask real, genuine questions to try to get clarity. And if you can't get that clarity from them, then I think that will tell you exactly what you need to. So just remember, you can educate yourself any day. You can reach out to your local holistic practitioners, and you can reach out to your local mediums, as well as herbalists and more. There's many alternatives out there if you just allow yourself to think about it, especially if you're connected to conscious community. And with that,
Isn't the
this
root
applies to the
chakra
root
I
chakra
am?
because
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Isn't the root chakra I am?
yes, it is.
Okay, sorry, I had a download when you were talking. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but so all of this is really cool because it comes into the I am. I am confident in myself. I am assured of myself. I am, I am receptacle of the truth energy and standing in my truth. I just thought that was cool. I don't know how I got that from what you said, but
Yeah, that's a wonderful affirmation for the root.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you. Anyway, go ahead and get yourself comfortable and get yourself prepared for a very brief energy clearing of the root chakra, if you would like to. You can sit or lay down, whichever you prefer. If you're sitting, having your back straight as much as you can. If you are laying down, having your legs straight and not crossed. Checking in with the shoulders, making sure that we are relaxing our shoulders. For the feet, making sure that our toes are not curled. And then lastly, checking in with the jaw, making sure we're not clenching our teeth. Focusing on the breath, breathing through the nose, drawing it all the way down to the root chakra at the base of the spine, and releasing out of the mouth. Continuing to breathe, breathing in, circulating that breath down and through the root chakra, releasing out of the mouth. Continue to stay focused on this breath. As we breathe the root chakra, beginning to clear and release any anger that we are holding on to, as well as resentment. With the breath, releasing any feelings of scarcity, whether it's around money, people, or time. And as we breathe, grounding and balancing our nervous system with our root chakra, allowing the nerves to relax, ground, feel ease. Been fearing taking a next step. We've been in fear. We've been in fear of what's next for your life. So may let it go. I am releasing any fear of resistance to my being. I am releasing any blockages in the forward of abundance for me. I am grounded, stable, and anchored to the great Mother Gaia. She supports me with unconditional love, nurturing, and abundance. I claim my sovereignty, claim my abundance, and I intergalactic being of multidimensional life. I release the programmings and beliefs that have kept me from believing up. Any ill feelings I have towards money will be. Staying with the breath. I am continuing maintaining this by day. And feel more grounded by it. And sitting through and processing my impulses. I am acknowledging that I'm in fight or flight. I am acknowledging, prioritizing my root chakra so I may not go into fight or flight. Nukulata Yani Nukulata Shikianata Now it's with the breath, guiding through these things, any lingering, maybe floating around. The nervous system, the fuse, balance, the mind, emotions, the chakra. Where we're ready, take it away, focus the body, open your eyes, being notified, noticing. Any final words? Sarah, do you have any final words as we close out?
Not really that I haven't said before, but I'll say it again. We are such beautiful, divine individuals, and the more that we wake up to remember our true past and our true selves, just remember to stay strong in the process. Because what I went through is definitely not over, and I'm going to help to uncover this energy and help with this because it's so important. You know, the temple is so important, and getting away from man-made stuff is just equally as important. So stay strong in your truth and stay strong in your I am, and you got this.
Last shade of that. You remember, guys, it's like you know what you know. Like if you know something, don't allow that to be shifted because of somebody else's belief. Like if you really truly know something, try to implement it, try to utilize it for what it is, instead of putting it on the
Yeah, I
back
have
burner.
faith.
Somebody else wants to tell you differently. Like if you know that there is natural remedies and holistic ways of doing something, don't allow somebody else to make you put that on the back burner for something that experiences like what we've spoken of.
Yeah.
So everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us on this first episode of the 2-year anniversary of Rising with Ra. And I'll be back on Friday, as the series is going to be on Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern, live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You guys will be able to catch me on with our next sacred guest, the royal guest. She goes by Divine Words of Wisdom. She will be joining us, and we will be talking about knowledge and some tools on how to navigate with the sacred chakra. So I'll see you guys then. Sarah, thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on and being a guest. And
Thank you for having me, Marcus. Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a very great conversation. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love having you. And for everybody out there, you guys can check out Sarah. You can reach out, you can ask her questions, connect with her through her Facebook and Instagram, which I have posted down below in the description.
Cool. And one thing real fast, Marcus, before we go. All right. Okay.
Well,
bye. Oh, I was going to say, I brought a little tiny piece of Sedona. Here, see this? This is a red rock of Sedona, and it was red for the root chakra, so I brought it along today. It was in our conversation the whole time. Yeah.
I love that.
I hand-picked that off Sedona. So it was in our meditation and in our conversation today.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Yeah. I just thought that'd be cool to add that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Somebody in the comments said summer. Thank you both. I will continue to join these when I can. This session has helped activate motivation in stepping into my power and diving more into these healing spaces. For this healing space.
That's awesome.
What it's all about right here. This is why I hold these spaces. This is why I create opportunity for us to be able to share these knowledges and wisdoms and stories with each other, so we can help activate each other and help each other see that we are connected. We do have things that can help each other through our wisdom and through our stories. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Everybody have a blessed, beautiful day. I will see you on Friday for the next episode of Rise with Rock. And I'll be on tomorrow for Instagram Live, Nightcap, 9 p.m. Eastern.